I'm gonna put something right now in the chat. This video. I recommend you all watch it. This is Mick Pennisi. Is that how you say it?
Panisi.
Panisi. Mick
Yes.
Panisi with
Mick
the
Panisi.
flop of the century. Please watch this. He got hit in the face with the ball, and then about a second and a half later, goes down. You actually know about this guy from your time in the Philippines.
Yeah, when I lived in Manila, Mick Panisi was on the Red Bull Barako team and was actually at the first professional practice I ever went to see in the Philippines. And it was confusing for me because I thought I had read that each team was only allowed to have one foreign player, and I was like, who is this 6'8" white guy if Qmont Greer is their import? And it turns out that Mick has, part Filipino ancestry. He's from Australia, and so he's been in the league since the early 2000s, and he's has this persona of just he plays up this sort of wrestling type bad guy. His only way of scoring is the trailing 3-pointer. He's sort of like a Sam Perkins in that way, or a late career Sam Perkins. And in big games, if he makes a big three, he turns to the crowd immediately and he's like, oh, he's like, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to flash any awkward signals there. But, he gives the finger to the crowd. He's this bald guy with a chin strap and weird tattoos. He's actually very funny. After that flop, he showed up on like the halftime show, sort of like the Kenny and Charles show on Philippine basketball, and was really like, he reenacted the flop. He was a very good sport about it. I think it was his 15 minutes of fame, and he was enjoying it. But like in more of a serious basketball sense, he's playing a role that a lot of local players do against the foreign imports who typically come in and dominate. They want to, rather than, because they figure they can't stop them, they might as well see if they can get them mad and kicked out of a game. So there's a lot of holding and grabbing and just doing things to frustrate them. They figure worst case scenario, you pick up a couple fouls and the guy gets frustrated. Maybe he commits a couple fouls. Best case scenario, he does something like Will McDonald did in that play: wheel around, peg the ball at Panisi's head, and get ejected. And Panisi's team won the game. So it's sort of, they're actually players whose specialty is making foreign guys mad, and the famous example of that is they will reach behind them and sort of goose the American player in the perineum area, and that's on video of happening to Anthony Grundy last year in a finals game, and the guy got caught, and it was it's just. It always works. After that, they say the American player never comes back into the paint.
Hey, Ray. Well, if I had a nickel for every time I heard Grundy's perennium, I mean, I don't. We could make a whole lot more off HoopSpeak Live. I've got a question. Do you think, with the success of the series that you guys have been doing, the Tankonia is awesome. Mm-hmm. I love reading about it. Do you think that there's a broader story behind this, perhaps, that's fueling the entertainment factor? As in, is bad basketball inherently amusing, or are there too many basketball teams to the point it's ridiculous? Why do you think we're getting what we're getting out of this right now?
Well, I mean, especially the True Hoop Network and Hoop Idea, you guys are coming up with a lot of sort of ways to try and improve the overall product. I don't think there's any way to write bad basketball out of existence, through the rule book. And sometimes it happens, especially, I talked with Beckley about this earlier before the show, that there are even good teams. There's a lot of good teams that could show up on a fate worse than death. It just feels weird to choose them first when they're actually winning games. But a night when when Kobe is going 2 for 31 and won't pass to anyone else, that you don't want to get caught watching that game either. And that's something that almost everyone has to watch, once a month, I think, because it's on ESPN or TNT. But in terms of like making bad basketball fun, or it being a product. I mean, I don't know. I guess for me, bad basketball sometimes is fun just because of the weird little moments you get in between. I guess they're the lows. It's sort of a consistent low, and then there's like a spike of either a surprise when a player does something you weren't expecting them to do that was good, or when they just do something so bad that you didn't think you'd ever see it.
All right, man. That is the unraveling the mysteries of the Mick Panisi and the goosing epidemic in the PBA has really been the highlight of HoopSpeak Live, I think, ever at this point. Thanks a lot for coming on, man. We got to move it along, but Rafe Bartholomew, follow him at Rafe Boogs on Twitter, and you can check out his stuff on Grantland.
Thanks, guys.